Welcome to the Students Ministry Podcast, where each week we grab some new students and we talk life, we talk school, we talk what's going on at youth group. And this week we have some new people here with us. So we're going to go around the table and we're going to introduce ourselves. So,
my name is Becca, 7th grade.
My name is Markie. I'm in 7th grade.
My name is Peyton, and I'm also in 7th grade.
And then I'm Lexi, and I'm the ministry coordinator, and
I'm Ben. I do all the tech stuff.
there you go. He does a really great job at it.
Thank you.
So, we always start off with this question, and it is, what is the best thing this week? Best thing you heard, best thing you saw, you experienced. What do you got, Becca?
Yesterday was my track meet, and I got in 8 minutes and 12 seconds for my mile.
Awesome.
That's awesome. I could never run a mile in 8 minutes and 12 seconds.
With a little bit of training, you could.
Nope.
Yep.
I don't want to.
If you could.
Maybe. What do you got, Markie?
I would also have to say the track meet. I got 4.6 in high jump, which is a personal record for me.
Way to go.
Awesome.
I would have to say probably my sister's graduation or hanging out with my cousin.
That's cool. So, graduate from high school or college?
College.
College.
Nice.
Lucky. Oh, man.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
lucky.
awesome. And then what school?
Like she graduated from?
Yeah.
Cornerstone.
Okay, that's a good school.
Yeah.
I've heard good things. Ben, what about you?
Well, I finished my first year of college at Grace Christian, and I'm also watching three of my teammates run at nationals this week.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, they put in a lot of hard work this season, so they definitely deserve it.
Absolutely. And then you're just watching, like, online?
Yeah, online through a live stream.
Where's nationals?
It is in Greenville, Illinois,
Wow.
which is, I'm guessing, on the other side of Chicago. I'm not totally sure, but
know.
they're an hour behind us at any rate, so
Yeah. I know
I've got to
nothing
do all the
about
conversions.
Illinois.
Right. I've got to do all the conversions to see when I've got to start making sure I'm paying attention.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's awesome, though. Best thing this week. Well, it was Mother's Day this week. Did you guys, first of all, did you appreciate your mothers? Did you spend time with your moms?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. That's awesome. At the church here, we actually hand out flowers each year, and there's usually a couple left. This year we had, like, flats of them, I think is the technical flower term. And I was told when I walked in, I just did some homework on Monday. I was told, grab a flat of flowers. That's like 8 of them. And as someone who does not have a green thumb, I said, what am I going to do? So what I ended up doing was I was the flower delivery woman, and I got to give some to my mom, to my stepmom, to my friend's mom, and it was pretty awesome. I just said, please take these from me, but they really appreciated the gesture. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it was pretty good Sunday and Monday, and then this week it's in the 80s, so it feels like summer even though it's May. So there's just a lot of good things happening. You're done with school, so
Yeah.
Here you go, summer
Here we go.
vacation.
Summer vacation, 2 months. Unpacking and repacking, let me tell you.
Honestly. So, what we're going to do next is we're going to open up to some scripture. And before we read, I'm going to ask Becca to say what the first verse is. So, Becca, what verse are we reading first?
Psalms 71, 15 through 17.
I will tell other people about all the good things you have done. All day long I will talk about how you have saved your people. But there is no way I could say how many times you've done this. Lord and King, I will come and announce your mighty acts. I will announce all the good things that you alone do. God, ever since I was young, you have taught me. To this very day, I tell you about wonderful acts.
Awesome. And Becca, what's the second verse?
1 John 1 through 3.
Okay, perfect. 1 John 1:3. Go ahead.
We announce to you what we have seen and heard. We do it so you can share life together with us, and we share life with the Father and with his Son, Jesus Christ.
Awesome. So these verses are very much about telling other people about what God has done and sharing with other people, announcing to you what we have seen and heard. So this week we're going to talk about testimony. And this is one that oh goodness, was it the end of February or March? I think it was end of March. We ended
Yes.
on a teaching on testimony.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, and just talking about what it's like to share your story. So we're going to start off with an easy question. What is testimony?
I'll start. A testimony is that you tell someone about your life and how God guides you through your life.
Absolutely. It's sharing your own story.
Yeah, I agree with Becca. It's just like sharing your faith that's happened like through your life and what like God has walked you through.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I also agree. It's basically just like sharing your story and like what you have for the world.
Yeah. Because, I mean, we've all gone through a lot at this point, and what better way to continue to share God than through what we've gone through?
Yeah.
So, have any of you ever had a moment where you shared your faith testimony with someone?
There's been multiple times as a small group leader where I've been able to share parts of my story and try to show my sixth grade boys that we all go through rough times, and that no matter what, we've got God to lean on through all of it, and that no matter what, He's going to be there for us, and He'll be right there no matter where we go, how far we've gone away, how close we've gotten to Him. He's always going to be there. He's inescapable.
But in a good way.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. What about you guys?
I actually go to this church camp every year, and we, with our like group, we like share things about our testimony and all that.
Yeah.
I also go to a summer church camp. I go to 2, and yeah, we share with groups and leaders and stuff.
Was there ever like a time with one specific person that you can think of that maybe you made a connection with them because you went through similar things, or even like you blew someone's mind because of what you have gone through?
Yeah, I actually, someone who goes here, we had like similar, like, difficulties with our faith and all that.
Yeah. And would you say that like strengthened a relationship?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Mm.
Yeah, there's a couple of my friends that go to this school, and some go to this youth group, and they have kind of the same testimony and like kind of faith in what Peyton said. Yeah.
It's really awesome. Like, yeah, when we go through difficult things, we don't love when we're going through it, but the ways that we can see later on say, okay, well, here's the reason why God used this for XYZ. He used it to connect me with another person. He used it to allow me to speak life to another person. And one of the things that Josh and I, when we are starting out the year, when we're planning lessons, we want to be upfront with you guys about our faith testimonies. That's something that's always been super important, just to say, well, first of all, even though we're adults and we should know what we're doing with the air quotes, we went through a lot. Josh and I both did. Our testimonies are impactful now, very difficult then.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But it allows us to connect with you guys. But on the other end, like you guys are saying, you made connections with people because of what you went through, and that's awesome. That's testimony. Why do you think using your own testimony is a good way to share your faith with others?
I'll start. Ever since I've been going to church, I like to help out with others, and it's just my favorite thing. And I got baptized last year, and I was nervous, but now God put this into me and move in my life to guide me.
Yeah. And you've grown a lot in your faith, like, since I met you. Since you started. I mean, we met you
1 year.
summer, was it summer serve?
Yeah.
It was 2020.
Yeah.
So that was 2 years ago now, summer serve. And the ways that you've grown since then, I mean, it was November, right, when you got baptized?
April.
April? Okay, so it was
Like-
a full year ago.
Yeah.
From the moment we met you to when you got baptized to now the ways that you share your testimony, that's so powerful. So what are ways that you've been able to talk about your faith with people?
If they don't know God, I help them guide and help them if they want to go to this church. And so I just want to help them guide.
Yeah. You have such a servant's heart when it comes to that. You love to help people. And that's with serving Kids Club, all those ways. You speak life to those little kids. And there's another way you can use your testimony. Even if it's not telling your full life story, there you go. You're still talking about faith with them. That's awesome. So I have a question for you two then. What are ways that you guys have seen, whether it's in like any kind of leadership or some kind of sport or something like that, that you've been able to maybe not share your full testimony, say, this is when I started believing and this is how God has worked in my life, but maybe ways that you can share parts of who you are with other people in order to share who God is?
Well, this is kind of, but if we can, before our like meets or games, we always pray before, and we try to get as many people as we can to do it with us, even if they're not Christians. They still come and join.
Yeah.
We also do this thing at lunch with a lot of people, and it's like a Bible study before, like after we eat, and it's just people can share what they want and do lessons, and I think it brings a lot of people like closer.
Yeah. And that's in a public school too, in a setting where it's not necessarily the forefront of what you're doing is to talk about faith, but you're still able to gather and, I mean, connect with other people like you, other people your age. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
I agree with Peyton too. We were with the boys too that we played together, and yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So Ben, why do you think using your own testimony is a good way to share faith with others?
It's a way to spark a fire in possibly a non-believer, but through my own story, I've also strengthened relationships with friends. For example, towards the end of this last semester, two of my friends went through breakups, and I was like, "Look, don't do what I did. Here's my advice to what you should do."
Yeah.
And through that, I got closer with both of them.
Yep.
And it was really cool to see the three of us kind of just grow together and lean more on God together.
So we're talking about using our own testimonies to share with other people. Was there ever a time that someone's testimony really impacted you? Whether it's a coach or a small group leader or just someone, even a parent, ways that someone has shared their testimony in it, you remember it to this day.
It was like, again, with the Bible study that we do at lunch, a couple people have shared their testimony, and I think that like they were like good, and I could relate to like some things, but I could also like know what they're like going through, and yeah.
My small group leader, she was my small group leader last year for 6th grade and this year. and she unpacked my testimony and shared it to other people that I don't really normally talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah, also with Becca, but I don't know if it's the same small group. But with the small group leader, we talk a lot together, and she like shares her testimony with me, and like we do it like both, and I can like really relate to her, like I said earlier.
Yeah. And then when we go through tough things, I mean, I think of when I was in high school, I had a small group leader, and she was just filling in for a couple of months too. So like total God thing that this ended up being so impactful. But this person who I kind of knew before, not really, comes in and shares her testimony freely with a bunch of, I think I was a sophomore, so a bunch of sophomore girls that she had just started meeting with. And her testimony was identical with mine. Maybe a couple of different things here and there that weren't. But in a time that was so tough, feeling like I was all alone, no one else knew what was going on, this leader just then shares, yeah, I made it through this, and I'm on the other end, like on the other side of it now, and I'm better. And I still meet with her to this day. Like, we're still prayer partners. So testimony, not only is it a good way to share faith, but it strengthens relationships with people too. With what you're saying, the Bible study. Maybe people that you haven't known super well, they share their testimony, and you already feel so much more connected with them. And your small group leaders too. That's what they're there for. They want to feel connected with you. They want to help you from, I mean, we aren't all super wise individuals. We speak from experience, and we speak from what the Holy Spirit tells us to.
Definitely.
But I mean, it impacts you guys. That's what you're saying. Like they share their lives with you. So on top of strengthening relationships and getting to know people more, a couple of weeks ago when we did teach on testimony, Mr. Hollis, a substitute teacher from the public school, comes in and teaches that night, co-teaches with Josh. And he gets a shout out every single week because he's just amazing.
Such a good guy.
But for you guys, did you know that he went through all of that stuff? Was he open with his testimony in the school? And also, like, what were you thinking as he was sharing all of that?
So as I was thinking, didn't know that he was going all the way through that, and I was like thinking, that he tells stories sometimes, but not like about testimony. But I just didn't know what he was going over and thinking. So.
Yeah, I agree with Becca a lot on that. Like, he doesn't share his like Christian stories because of the fact that it's not a Christian school and that everyone in the classes don't have the same religion. So like I didn't know that like he was actually going through all that, like Becca said.
But you guys have said before, you can tell that he's Christian just by the way he is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's every time he was in, at least when I was in at high school, in the high school, when he was subbing for a teacher, he would always be standing on the hallway, like greeting people, as they walked by. And most of the time, if it was in the morning, I would more than likely ignore him. And that was probably a mistake I made. But he was just a super genuine, upbeat guy. Mm-hmm. Never seemed like he had a moment where he was just, kind of down. He was just always happy, always smiling, always giving off this joyful, fun vibe, and that's why everybody loved him.
The first time he subbed for one of my classes, I didn't know what he was, and now when he subs, like, I was happy when he subbed one of my classes. I was like happy, and I when he tells stories, and he's colorblind too. Also,
His colorblind jokes, yeah.
Yeah, and like it's like you can also tell he's a Christian because every chance he gets that if there's people that he knows are Christians around him, he'll like tell his faith stories and other stories that he knows, and he like brings people closer to God, like in chances he gets when it's not like.
So not just sharing what he's been through, but he shares the joy of the Lord, and that's a testimony in itself. He's just such a happy person, and that's amazing. And he said that he was like, he prayed for it, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden the Lord just filled him beyond understanding with joy.
Yeah.
And so testimony doesn't always, especially in a public school where you can't, I think he said that he can talk about it if he's asked, but
Yep.
he can't just go up to people and ask what they believe or say
Yep.
this is what. But in a place that you can't even share your faith completely, there's still a testimony to who you are, like, and in the way that you present yourself to people. I look back to the Psalm 71 verse. It says, I will tell other people about all the good things you have done. All day long I will talk about how you have saved your people. But there's no way I could say how many times you've done this. And it's talking over and over. I will announce your mighty acts. I will talk about the good things you do. Ever since I was young, you have taught me. Through our stories, through the things we've been through, the ways that God has worked. But also, as we're saying, through our actions, the way that we put on the likeness of Christ. That's a testimony too.
How have you seen God work through you and through others when you've shared your testimony? I can start. So give you guys time to think. So, like I said earlier, through relationships with my friends and being able to share parts of my testimony with them to help them get through the difficult times that they go through, I've been able to take what I learned from not doing it the right way and being like, here's what I did. Don't do what I did. Here's what you probably should do, but like pray about it. Let me know if you need anything. Let me know how I can help. Let me know if there's something that if you just need to talk about it, let me know. And just being able to be someone that they can share things to that's the kind of person that like I'm trying to be, is just be that person that can just, if you got something to talk about, if you need somebody to rant to, just let me know. And I'm more than willing to listen. And through all that, and even be able to share parts of my testimony, there's been a lot of friendships and relationships strengthened because of it.
So every time I see people down, I try to cheer them up. And sometimes they said, can you leave me alone, please? And so I just leave them alone. But and when I'm down, my friends help me, like Peyton and Markie, they help me a lot. And they really, really guide me through God.
It's awesome. And having those strong friendships too help, right?
I think sharing and connecting with God and all that with other people could really start really good conversations and lead to further conversation and relationships with each other.
After Jesus had died, all of the believers were getting together and they were sharing what they had experienced when he was around. And because of it, they continued to go out and they continued to share the word of God. They continued to share about what they had seen. And it strengthened them, and they created the church. And that's what it's about. So if there's a youth pastor or another student watching, and you could tell them one thing about testimony, about maybe like getting students to share their testimony, or why you want to encourage others to share their testimony, what would you say to them?
I would say if you're afraid to like share it, just to first think about like what you would say, and then when you do go and share it, stick with it, and you could relate to many people and grow stronger with relationships.
Yeah.
I agree with Peyton, and you can play before, and yeah.
Yeah, I agree with both of you, because like some people like don't know how much like other people relate to your testimonies, so like there's so many things like in your testimony that other people can relate to, so it's not like
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I would say to youth pastors and youth leaders, don't be afraid to be vulnerable. And to students, don't be afraid to open up a little bit.
Yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely. So, from all of us here at the Students Ministry Podcast, thank you for watching and listening, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.